Namaste, angels. I'm here to do the weekly general reading for tomorrow, Sunday, July 23rd, through Saturday, July 29th. I had just begun the reading, and I mentioned the lost books of the Bible, of which I have a copy, and my camera jumped off the table. So I had to start all over. I'm back. So yeah, the 23rd is the day of our new moon. The new moon, as far as universal time, which is the equivalent of military time, comes in at 9:45 or 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I guess, add or subtract the number of hours to calculate to your given time zone. Now, military time is also referred to as Zulu time. And surprisingly, I've never looked this up, so I don't know why. But I was wondering last night when I looked at the universal time, I'm like, oh yeah, Zulu. Why would they call it Zulu? I'm just familiar with here, the Zulu Nation, the hip hop band, hip hop group, whatever. And of course, the Zulu tribe in Africa. But so why would they call time, military time, Zulu? I don't know. It's spelled the same way, Z-U-L-U. Anybody knows, they can feel free to let me know because I have not looked it up, but I was just curious about it. Anyway, so our new moon, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be live for that on Facebook at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, PM. So Pacific time should be 11, right? Well, you can figure that out too. I did try to deduct 3 hours. I think it might be 11. Yeah, I think so. In any case, I'll be on. All right, so the 24th is the first day of Av, the month of Av, spelled A-V on the Hebrew calendar. And essentially that means the month of Father. I'm going to begin to read a story called The Dancing Maidens of Jerusalem. And it's a 3 part story rather than try to read the whole thing because there's so many things going on this week that I have to try to squeeze into this. I'll read the first part, and then next week I'll read the second part, and then the following week I'll read the third part. So we'll have like a little to be continued, a little trilogy here. The 25th, so the following day, is the feast day of St. James the Apostle. Now, it's always a feast day, a celebration in, I guess, one culture or religion or another. And, that's not what this is about of why I mention these. I only mention the ones that I feel are pertinent to the journey. And so I'm mentioning James because he was an apostle of Jesus, and Jesus is pertinent to the journey, whether you accept him or believe in him as the Messiah or a prophet or whatever. If, he was at all part of this, which he has to be because everyone's going on about or trying to achieve Christ consciousness. And some people even call themselves, although they admit to not having achieved it, Christ consciousness masters. Apparently this is a part of Reiki, so Christ, which really just means anointed. So it's like Jesus, the Christ, the anointed one, basically Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ. If you're trying to become elevated and trying to achieve something similar, just a higher vibration of yourself and remain that way and maintain it, then, Jesus is key here, or, that dynamic. So that's that. The following day is a celebration of his grandparents, Mary's parents, Saints Joachim and Anne. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. And then the 3 days subsequent, the 27th, 28th, 29th, are nothing spiritual that I know of that's related to the journey. And so we'll cover those days with the celestial stuff. I'll start with Saints Anne and Joachim. Let's do that. Saints Anne and Joachim. This is from Britannica.com, by the way. So anybody can look it up. And it's Britannica as in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Saints Anne and Joachim flourished in 1st century BC Palestine. Isn't that interesting? The feast day is celebrated in Western cultures on July 26th, but in Eastern cultures on July 25th. They were the parents of the Virgin Mary, according to tradition, and that tradition is derived from writings and information of their lives found in 2nd century AD. The first Gospel of James is where that information was contained. And then in the 3rd century AD, someone discovered the Gospel of the Nativity of Mary. And I was saying that that is probably where the books of Mary, or at least in part, that are contained in the lost books of the Bible, which I own, are. And that's where the camera jumped off the table. According to these sources, Anne, whose Hebrew name is Hannah, was born in Bethlehem, Judea. She married Joachim, which is also spelled Joachim sometimes. So it's Joachim or Joachin. And I've actually seen it with Q. Joaquin, Joaquin. Anyway, she married Joachim, and although they shared a wealthy and devout life in Nazareth, they eventually lamented their childlessness. Joachim reproached at the temple for his sterility and retreated into the countryside to pray, while Anne, grieved by his disappearance and by her barrenness, solemnly promised God that if given a child, she would dedicate it to the Lord's service. I don't know if you guys caught that part, but they went into separation. I'm sure they were some sort of divine couple, right? The parents of Mary, they went into separation. He retreated into the countryside to pray, is what they say, while Anne was left at home to grieve his disappearance and her barrenness, the fact that she couldn't give birth. Both received the vision of an angel who announced that Anne would conceive and bear a most wondrous child. The couple rejoiced at the birth of their daughter, whom Anne named Mary. When the child was 3 years old, Joachim and Anne, in fulfillment of her divine promise, brought Mary to the temple at Jerusalem. And it wouldn't have been Mary. They have Mary here, but it wouldn't have been Mary at that time. It would have been Mariama, actually. And it's written that way in the Torah, minus the A at the end, and in the Quran as well. Anyway, where was I? The couple rejoiced at the birth of their daughter, whom they named Mary. And when the child was 3 years old, Joachim and Anne, in fulfillment of their divine promise to God, brought Mary to the temple at Jerusalem, where they left her to be brought up. So they left her to be raised by nuns, I guess, or other religious people. Not nuns, yeah. Not nuns. The equivalent, like that type of thing, because it wouldn't have been a Catholic or a Christian type of situation. They were Jews, but that's what like. They were raised by these religious people. This event came to be important because in church doctrine at that time, by the year 1585, which is 613, the day on which, or equates to the day on which I told you we were celebrating not necessarily only her, but the goddess Isis' birthday. 613 equals 19. Pope Sixtus V, so his name is Sixtus, as in 6, and the 5th equals 11, included in the Western Church calendar the liturgical feast of the Presentation of Mary. That's celebrated on November 21st. Although this festival originated in the East, probably at Jerusalem in the year 543, its first Western observance was recorded in England in the 11th century. So there's another 11. The account of their lives startlingly parallels the Old Testament story of the barren Hannah and her conception of Samuel in Samuel 1. According to later legends, Joachim died shortly after Mary's birth, and Anne, encouraged by the Holy Spirit, remarried. Anne's cult was fervent in the Eastern Church as early as the 4th century, and in early 8th century, Pope Constantine probably introduced her devotion to Rome. Joachim's cult was introduced to the West in the 15th century. This became the foundation for establishing the liturgical feasts of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary, which is celebrated on September 8th, and the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which is celebrated on December 8th. It's celebrated on December 8th because they celebrate her birthday on September 8th. So they're saying like her mother became pregnant with her. It's the Immaculate Conception. It's her mother's conception with her, December 8th, that led to later delivering a baby on September 8th. Many churches, the first dating from the 6th century, were built in Anne's honor. Anne's cult became extremely popular in the Middle Ages and influences such theologians as Jean de Gerson, Conrad Wimpernau, and Johann Eck, who endorsed the interpolation that Anne, in her alleged subsequent marriages, became the grandmother of the apostles John and James, sons of Zebedee, Simon, Jude, James, son of Alphaeus, and also James, the Lord's brother. Martin Luther and others vehemently attacked the cult of Anne, which was then promoted by post-Reformation popes. Eastern literature on Anne, going back to the 4th century, does not follow the fantastic legends of medieval Western tradition. Anne is the patron saint of Brittany and Canada and of women in labor. So I guess that's a good segue into James. Kind of weird saying that Anne may have been his grandmother, but in one sense it would make sense. James is the only one to have witnessed the Assumption of Mary, according to what's written. And he was able to prove this by the fact that she left behind her girdle, which is interesting. And there was something else with James and Mary. Maybe it'll come to me. Anyway, while I'm on that, let me go ahead and speak about St. James the Apostle. And this is from www.franciscanmedia.org. Franciscan as in the Franciscan Order of Monks. St. James the Apostle story. This James is the brother of John the Evangelist. The two were called by Jesus as they worked with their father in a fishing boat on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus had already called another pair of brothers from a similar occupation, Peter and Andrew. He walked along a little farther and saw James, the son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They too were in the boat mending their nets. Then he called to them. So they left their father Zebedee in the boat along with the hired men and followed him. This can be found in Mark 1:19 through 20. James was one of the favored three who had the privilege of witnessing the transfiguration. Right, that's what it was. The raising to life of the daughter of Jairus and the agony in Gethsemane. Two incidents in the Gospels describe the temperament of this man and his brother. St. Matthew tells that their mother came, and Mark says it was the brothers themselves to ask that they have the seats of honor in the kingdom. Jesus' reply was, "You do not know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink?" They said to him, "We can." This is found in Matthew 20:22. And I know I definitely have been seeing, but I think a few of you other people, at least on my Facebook page, have been seeing a lot of this too. Matthew 20:22 would definitely be 2:22. Jesus then told them that they would indeed drink the cup and share his baptism of pain and death, but that sitting at his right hand or left was not his to give. It is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father. And that's in Matthew 20:23. It remained to be seen how long it would take for them to realize the implications of their confident "we can." The other disciples became indignant at the ambition of James and John. Then Jesus taught them all the lesson of humble service. The purpose of authority is to serve. They are not to impose their will on others or lord over it. This is the position of Jesus himself. He was the servant of all. The service imposed on him was the supreme sacrifice of his own life. On another occasion, James and John gave evidence that the nickname Jesus gave to them, the Sons of Thunder, was an apt one. The Samaritans would not welcome Jesus because he was on his way to hated Jerusalem. When the disciples, James and John, saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" Jesus turned and rebuked them. Luke 9:54, which is interesting because that's 9:9. I was just talking about 9:45, the universal time that the new moon is going to arrive in the morning. James was apparently the first of the apostles, and I just thought about another 9:9. The moon next month and the solar eclipse is happening for the first time in 99 years. So we may want to watch these nines. James was apparently the first of the apostles to be martyred. About that time, King Herod laid hands upon some members of the church to harm him. He had James, the brother of John, killed by the sword. And when he saw that this was pleasing to the Jews, he proceeded to arrest Peter also. Acts 12:1-3. This James, sometimes called James the Greater, is not to be confused with James the Lesser, or with the author of the letter of James and the leader of the Jerusalem community. Reflection. The way the Gospels treat the apostles is a good reminder of what holiness is all about. There is very little about their virtues as static possessions, entitling them to heavenly reward. Rather, the great emphasis is on the kingdom, on God's giving them the power to proclaim the good news. As far as their personal lives are concerned, there is much about Jesus's purifying them of narrowness, pettiness, and fickleness. St. James the Apostle is the patron saint of Chile. So this is my third week in a row mentioning Chile. Also laborers, Nicaragua, rheumatism, and Spain. And with that, I guess I'll go into the sky this week. I'm noticing I don't have any incense. I'll try to remember to burn some when I move this way. Sunday, July 23rd. The new moon occurs at 5:46. This says 5:46 rather than 45. I don't know. Eastern Daylight Time. And at its new phase, the moon crosses the sky with the sun and so remains hidden by our star. But that won't be the case the next time our satellite completes an orbit of Earth. On August 21st, the new moon will pass directly in front of our star, bringing a total solar eclipse to millions of observers across the United States from Oregon to South Carolina. The rest of the country will experience a partial eclipse, though viewers should really try their best to get into the path of totality. Pluto reached the peak of its 2017 appearance earlier this month, and it remains a tempting target for those with an 8-inch or larger telescope. The 14th magnitude world is visible all night among the background stars of northeastern Sagittarius, some 1.5 degrees east-southeast of 3rd magnitude Pi. See In Pursuit of Pluto in the July Astronomy edition for complete details on finding this world. Monday, July 24th, again, the first day of Av, the month of Father, and also my earthly father's birthday. Grab your binoculars and scan just above the western horizon after sunset. There, you'll find 3 bright objects that fit a single field of view. Mercury will be the easiest to see. It shines at a magnitude of 0.2 and stands at about 8 degrees high a half hour after the sun goes down. The first magnitude star Regulus in Leo, the lion, lies 1 degree to the planet's upper left, and a slender crescent moon, just 4% lit, hangs at about 5 degrees to the lower right of the close pair. Tuesday, July 25th, the waxing crescent moon stands some 8 degrees to the upper left of Mercury Regulus pair. This evening, let me repeat that. The waxing crescent moon stands at some 8 degrees to the upper left of the Mercury Regulus pair this evening. 9% of Luna's face appears lit tonight, and the greater illumination combined with the higher altitude makes it much easier to see than it was yesterday. Wednesday, July 26th. By the time the morning twilight starts to paint the sky, brilliant Venus already dominates the scene. The planet rises at around 3 a.m. local daylight time and stands 10 degrees at the start of twilight an hour later. It's hard to mistake Venus for anything else at a magnitude of negative 4.0. It shines far brighter than any other object in the morning sky. Although the view with the naked eye or through binoculars is dazzling, you also should point a telescope in the planet's direction. Not only does Venus show a 15-inch diameter disk that appears nearly 3/4 illuminated, but this morning also offers a bonus. The planet lies less than 1 degree south of the Crab Nebula supernova remnant, or M1. M as in Mary. Mars reaches solar conjunction at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time when it lies on the far side of the sun from our perspective. The red planet will remain hidden in our star's glare until it emerges into morning twilight in September. And Thursday, July 27th, as the inner planet Venus moves quickly relative to the background stars after passing south of M1 yesterday, this morning the planet appears 0.4 degrees north of the 3rd magnitude star Zeta Tauri, the southern horn of the constellation Taurus the Bull. Friday, July 28th. The waxing crescent moon appears about 1/3 illuminated this evening when it lies just 3 degrees above brilliant Jupiter. The two lie about 25 degrees high in the southwest an hour after sundown and look spectacular then until they set at 11 p.m. local daylight time. Although the naked eye and binoculars show this conjunction best, a telescope delivers great views of magnitude -1.9 Jupiter all week. The giant planet's disk spans at about 35 inches and shows a wealth of detail in its massive atmosphere. Saturday, July 29th. Mercury pops up into the twilight glow this evening as a sky begins to darken. The innermost planet lies 27 degrees east of the sun tonight. Its greatest elongation for the evening apparition, in parentheses they have the configuration officially occurs at 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 30th. Look for it 30 minutes after sunset when it lies 8 degrees above western horizon. The innermost planet should be fairly easy to spot because it shines brightly at a magnitude of 0.3. And in parentheses, they have used binoculars if you can't see it with your naked eyes. Through a telescope, Mercury appears 8 inches across and slightly less than half lit. The southern delta Aquarid meteor shower reaches its peak overnight, but meteor rates remain essentially the same from July 27th through August 1st. And with nearly first quarter moon setting around midnight local daylight time, early morning viewing conditions should be ideal. The meteors appear to radiate from the constellation Aquarius, which rises in late evening and appears highest in the hours before dawn. At its best, the shower produces 20 to 25 meteors per hour under a dark sky, though the highest rates occur at tropical locations and in the southern hemisphere. And lastly, Sunday, July 30th, the first quarter moon arrives at 11:23 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Our satellite won't rise until around 1:30 p.m. local daylight time. However, so observers in the Americas won't see it precisely half lit. As darkness falls this evening, the moon appears about 55% illuminated and resides among the background stars of Libra, the scales. Venus's rapid eastward motion relative to the background stars carries it from Taurus the bull into Orion the hunter this morning. The planet will reside in this non-zodiacal constellation for only 2 days. However, and it will cross into Gemini, the twins, on August the 1st. And to recap the astrology, so July 20th, Mars entered Leo. The 22nd, which is today, the sun entered Leo. Tomorrow, new moon in Leo. The 25th, Mercury enters Leo. And lastly, 7/31, Venus enters Cancer. Now I begin the story of the dancing maidens from Shabbat.org. There were no greater festivals for Israel than the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. On these days, the daughters of Jerusalem would go out and dance in the vineyards. And what would they say? Young man, raise your eyes and see which you select for yourself. And so it is written, go out, daughters of Zion, and see King Solomon in the crown with which his mother crowned him on his wedding day and on the day of his heart's rejoicing. This is found in Songs of Songs 3:11. His wedding day refers to the giving of the Torah, the day of his heart's rejoicing. This is the building of the holy temple, which shall be rebuilt speedily in our days. And this can be found in the Talmud 26b. It's no coincidence that Yom Kippur and the 15th of Av served as occasions for matchmaking for the young men and women of Jerusalem. These 2 days are the respective betrothal and marriage dates of God and Israel. Yom Kippur, the day on which the second tablets were given to Moses, marking the fulfillment of the covenant of Mount Sinai, is the day of Israel's betrothal to God. Av 15, the day that represents the rebirth, which follows the great fall of the Holy Temple's destruction on the 9th of Av, celebrates the ultimate consummation of our marriage with the final redemption of the Messiah. After relating how the daughters of Jerusalem would go out and dance in the vineyards, and whoever did not have a wife would go there to find himself a bride. The Talmud goes on to describe 3 different categories of quote-unquote daughters and how each would go and call out to her prospective bridegroom. What would the beautiful ones among them say? Look for beauty, for a woman is beauty. What would those of prestigious lineage say? Look for family, for a woman is her children. What would the ugly ones say? Make your acquisition for the sake of heaven, as long as you decorate us with jewels. And this is also found in the Talmud 31a. The rabbi goes on to explain that the marriage of God and his people also includes these three categories of brides. The souls of Israel include beautiful souls and of prestigious lineage, and ugly souls, each of whom contribute their own unique dimension to our relationship with God. And next week, I'll read the chapter or the paragraphs that begin called love. And with that, the dice. I'm starting with no. 29, which is all about partnership, and partnership was at the heart of the matter of my Leo new moon reading. And dirty movie. Spirit says it's 50-50. Party. And stay in bed. I think I'm going to do the crossbred, my crossbred, with the Mary Queen of Angels deck in honor of her parents, Anne and Joachim. Beginning with love. Love is the answer to all of my questions. And opening two blessings. Today I count my blessings small and large, and I notice the new gifts that come to me from God. By the way, I have two blessings cards in this deck. I was blessed with two blessings. So just in case you see both of them, that's what that's about. It's a quote unquote misprint. Blessings. And be strong. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. Be strong. Boundaries. I'm clear and honest with others about my expectations. One more. Aww. It jumped out of my hand. What the heck? This is funny. Well, it revealed blessings again, but the card to which I had really opened is marriage. Let's see what jumped out with it. Watched over. I allow myself to feel safe and to enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. Enthusiasm. Whatever I'm most passionate about is the direction I follow. Signs. I watch for, notice, and trust the signs that heaven continually sends. And miracle. I trust in God to know the perfect solution to this situation. Marriage says I make a commitment to a healthy relationship with God, myself, and my partner. Marriage. Cut. Started with love, ended with marriage. Wasn't there like a childhood song like that? I think when we played Double Dutch. First comes love, first comes marriage. Maybe in Double Dutch or one of those eeny, meeny, miny, mo things. Anyway, I've come to mercy. I am kind and thoughtful toward myself and others. Overall energy this week is children. My heart is filled with love for children, which creates miracles and positive change for them and me. The feminine about herself this week with regard to the union. Miracle. I trust in God to know the perfect solution to this situation. So those of us among the divine feminine, if we've been trying to figure something out, remember this is a week, actually 2 weeks, it has the potential to be, of being cloudy, foggy. I talked about that in my new moon in Leo reading. And so if you're unsure, even what your heart is telling you, you can't figure that out. That's when you trust in God to know the perfect solution and let him show you. Or her. She can show you. The masculine about the feminine this week. Signs. I watch for, notice, and trust the signs that heaven continually sends. So this is about the synchronicities. He's paying close attention to them this week to try to keep in connection and sync with you in that lovely 5D way. Masculine about himself this week. Self-respect. I like it. I honor and love myself through my healthful actions. And about the union. Enthusiasm. Whatever I'm most passionate about is the direction I follow. This is following one's heart straight to the union. I love this. Overall, caring. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself, others, and the world. Outcome. Boundaries. I'm clear and honest with others about my expectations. What would the masculine have the feminine to do or surrender toward the union this week? Watched over. He wants her to, what he'd have her surrender is surrender. He wants her to surrender, basically, to relinquish some of the hold she has on herself to the universe, and to like go with the flow and just trust, right? Doesn't have to be so guarded. I allow myself to feel safe and to enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. And that may include children. There may, something may come up where you kind of have to decide. I don't want to say decide between the divine masculine and your children, because that's not really what I mean. It's like your children don't really need you, but you otherwise would be, would hover, be like a helicopter mom. And that's not necessary because they are watched over. So go ahead and, entrust whomever it is you entrust them to, or trust them if they're old enough to stay by themselves, but normally you wouldn't allow it. Maybe you trust them. Something. I'm not encouraging anybody to leave their kids at home by themselves. I'm just saying that what the message is coming through is it may have to do with our overall energy of children. This watched over card, and the fact that the reason the masculine is asking this is because you don't have to. You don't have to be a helicopter mom, basically. You can have some time for yourself and some time for yourself with him. I'm a helicopter mom too. I can be. I have the potential to be. And I would pick my daughter up from school, drop her off from school. She's old enough to get on the bus or the train or whatever. So one day I did go see my divine masculine and I told her to get on the bus. Like that type of thing. So not to put your child in danger or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that, and the masculine's not suggesting that either. But where you have a choice to make, and it really isn't a choice, you're really not setting any boundaries by some of the things you're allowing your children to expect of you, or that you're just allowing willy-nilly. Put the boundary down, and you go have fun with the divine masculine, basically. What is the divine masculine himself willing to do or surrender toward the union this week? It is home. And I told you last week, home was where the heart is. I trust and follow my divine guidance about my home. So he's willing to do that. And also for some, it may have to do with his home. It may have to do with the fact that, because this came up with the new moon and Leo reading also, that some of us needed to change our community, change with whom and what we surround ourselves. So some divine masculine may need to move out or go to their real home. Again, home is where the heart is. Maybe you're living in a house that is not filled with love. So you need to go where the love is. And what will the universe have the two to do or surrender this week toward the union? Feminine. Okay, take advantage of the feminine power that the moon offers us all. I allow my feminine nature to shine brightly as a valuable part of my identity. And this is for the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This is for males and females. We all have an inner feminine with which we need to get in touch, and which is ever strong under the moon, right? Because the moon is also feminine. It's feminine energy of surrender. So it can guide us to do that, to let go and let God, as they say. Nice. I'm going to go on to the Angel Tarot now. Beginning with the King of Water. And I started out with all fire cards. They were really, really awesome fire cards, including like the Ace of Fire and stuff. And then I started to see all water. And they were all really, really nice water cards as well, with the exception of the 5. I'm not a fan of the 5. The King of Water is with what I'm beginning. Trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured is the King of Water. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work, which in my opinion is love. Opening to the King of Air. Brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic is the King of Air. This could be about all that Mercury that came up in the reading, or Venus even. She can come through as the king. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. I say this because the King of Air is a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, somebody taking on those traits. And the King of Water is a Pisces, maybe like where Chiron is currently located. A Cancer or a Scorpio, or somebody taking on those traits or attributes. King of Water. 7 of Earth. Seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, unnecessary worry. So this is where like we've already got the wheels turning and we might not be able to see the fact that they're moving. But we got to trust that they are. This is where the trust comes in. 3 of Fire. Abundance. Things look very good. Abundance was the major theme of the new moon in Leo. And here we have this fire energy coming through. So this could be what that's about. Things look very good. Have patience at this time, like the 7 of Earth suggests we do. Make long-term plans. So just know you're going to be able to afford, you know, what it is you want to do. Just know you're going to be able to take a trip in, you know, 6 months or whatever. So make that long-term plan. I'm going on a cruise. Like that sort of thing. You can trust that the abundance is coming in with the 3 of Fire. And the King of Fire. Motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic as the King of Fire. Focus, 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 and communicate with vision. Be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The King of Fire is a Leo, like the moon, or in Aries or Sagittarius. Three of Fire. I'm going to cut. And it's the 10 of Fire. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance. That causes stress-related health concerns. This is a card about feeling burdened and or burdensome upon somebody else. This could be coming into play with the masculine, for example, having to do with the home, maybe where he's living or whatever his living situation is. Somebody is a burden upon him there, or he feels like a burden upon somebody else. That's why he wants to change it. This can also come into play with you know, the watched over and the family being trusted. We're feeling, the feminine might be feeling burdened by, you know, some family obligations, that she really can start to make boundaries and cut some things out that are not necessary anymore. You don't have to, you know, help your 19-year-old child to whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they can do most things on their own, like that sort of thing. 10 of Fire. And the overall energy is the 7 of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions. So this could come into play with either one of the scenarios I just mentioned or any other thing that could come into your life. It's like if you decide, you know, I'm doing XYD with my life, with my time, with my divine feminine, with my divine masculine, I'm making these moves, and, you know, whoever likes it, tough. You standing by your decision. If somebody confronts you about it, you get to choose whether or not you want to get into it and address them or walk away from them. You choose your own battles. Choose them wisely, however. Oh, well, it's 2. I'm going to go ahead and lay them. Masculine is the world with Archangel Michael. A job well done. Joy, contentment, and gratitude in the path toward enlightenment. The world is a card that also came up in the new moon reading. And for me, it is about having made it through a long, trying, difficult, maybe time, circumstance, situation. Could be a relationship, a friendship, a job, you know, romantic relationship, a marriage, whatever. It's been over. You overstayed your own. You crossed your own boundary, and like wore out your welcome. They wore out their welcome. You should have been gone. We've all stayed in places that we knew we needed to leave far too long. This could be the home again. Getting back to that with the masculine, and this is similar to the Tower in that it's the universe that's coming in to help you out of that situation. But the difference is the Tower is abrupt. You don't have time to prepare. You don't know when it's coming. Boom, here comes the Tower. The world is more, it requires that patience that we saw with the 7 of Earth. Things are moving and they're moving in a positive direction, and you're making moves too, and you're being eased out of whatever that situation is. You can be moved into a far better one for you. It also, being a 21, has the potential to have to do with what I call a party of 3. Not necessarily romantic, but that's a possibility too. Masculine is surrounded by the 10 of water, a contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships. This has to do with family. For some, I mean, the 10 of water on its own is an awesome card. You want to get it. Sitting here under the world, it can have to do with, a family coming to an end, for lack of a better word. Like, you know, this could be a divorce or something like that. Or maybe like one person is moving, or a couple of people are moving. Again, getting back to the thing with the home. And so there's a long situation maybe where we live together, and that's changing. That's ending. We're not going to live together anymore. In the masculine subconscious, the 6 of fire, it's all good though. It's positive. Victory. Good news is on its way. Public recognition or awards. It's all about positive moving forward. It's nothing to get like, down in the dumps about. Feminine. The 6 of air. I like this 6 on 6 action. This mirroring of 6 here. The 6 of air. Things are looking up. It's the end of a difficult situation, and it mirrors the difficult situation. Here's the difficult situation, the world. It's the end of that, and somebody may even be taking a trip or moving to a new home. Surrounded by the Knight of Air. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless is the Knight of Air. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so that you can come up with creative solutions. Knight of Air is a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, or somebody taking on those traits, those attributes. As is the Ace of Air. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Seeing the truth of a situation and a challenging beginning. This is about, all aces are always about a brand new start. So to me, that's always positive. It says a challenging beginning, but I feel like it's a beginning nonetheless. Ace of Air also means victory. So this is victory on victory action with the Ace of Air mirroring the 6 of fire. And it also has to do with cutting away what no longer serves our higher good or the higher good. Crowning the union, the Page of Fire. Outgoing, creative, confident, and mischievous as the Page of Fire. And in my mind, they're a Sagittarius. But they can be an Aries or Leo as well as anybody that not a fire sign taking on those attributes or traits. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. So there could be an opportunity coming up for one or both of the couple here. At the root, the 10 of Air. It's the end of a difficult situation. This is our second time. Third time. 1, 2, 3 in this spread. 4. Hearing that a difficult situation is coming to an end. Okay, so let's believe it. and begin to think positive, begin to make those long-term plans. So I'm going to be out of this funky situation, you know, very, very soon. So let me look ahead. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Somebody may be recovering from addiction. And addiction doesn't have to mean substance abuse or whatever, although it can. But an addiction can be, you know, whatever this is, whatever this third energy might be. Again, something upon which we were codependent. A job, a relationship, a friendship, whatever. It's over. It was bad and it's over. A living situation that wasn't healthy for anybody, you know, that was part of it. All that kind of stuff. Here at the heart of the matter, we have 2 cards. And they're both of the suit of Earth. How awesome is that? It's the 4 of Earth and the 6 of Earth. So this is going to want us to not be, as it relates to finances and the material, not to be too like nervous about spending. I'm not saying go out and like, you know, let you burn your money, but we have this. Okay, so we're going to be receiving more. Maybe we're used to not having. We're used to lack. That's one of the difficult situations that's changing. So now we got to begin to get used to people being more generous with us and the world being more generous with us, the world being more fair. Gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, maybe even receiving a loan or paying off debts. The 4 of Earth is about being too frivolous or too cautious. So coupled here with the 6, for me, it's a warning not to be too cautious. Good business decisions is another thing it could mean, however, and or giving to those less fortunate, which it can also mean, because the 6 of Earth, again, is about both gift card, and I guess particularly in this deck, represents the planet Venus, because it's the Earth, her Earth of Taurus, and the scales of Libra, both of which we just heard about when I went over what was going on in the sky this week. I don't remember what it was, but I remember talking about Libra and Taurus, so we might want to look at that. Those that feel connected to or guided to. Anything to, I was going to try to clarify. The next card is upside down anyway. I'm moving on to Ascended Master cards, beginning with Purification and White Tara. Purification is about ridding yourself, Ace of Air style, of anything that is toxic in your life. People, places, things, they all got to go. And Horus says, yep, you are seeing this situation accurately. And he joins us with the moon here. I like that. Purification. That's going to lead to the power of joy, right? When we rid ourselves of things that are not healthy for us, not only does it improve our situation, it improves, anybody else that was involved, it improves their situation as well. We can all experience the power of joy. Even if we don't realize it, at the time, we will come to know, I promise you, that it's much better. Let's see the blessing in the situation. Purification back and clear and shield your energy of, again, these toxic energies. Maybe this third energy, whether it's a person or not. Yeah, we gotta rid ourselves. We gotta purify. There's Raphael too. We have to heal. Yeah, so rid yourself of anything toxic in your life, people, places, and things. And then after you've cleared your energy, shield it, protect it. Like, meditate on how you can maintain it. Purification. I'll go one more. Health and healing. So we're staying in that theme right now with Hilarion. And when I do a healing for somebody, I include like how they can continue to maintain their own, how they can continue to shield their own energy afterwards as well. That's an important part, because you don't want to, it's like sweeping up, the house, and then you leave the door open, like right in front of a dusty yard, and the wind blows and it's all back inside, or that type of thing. I just say meditate on it, on how to maintain, how to make choices, how to clear and shield your energy, and then how to maintain it. Yes, Buddha agrees with me. He says, I'm seeing the situation accurately, just like Horus said. And the overall energy is fertility and Pan. This can mean a few things. I started out with the King of Water. It can be connected to maybe a Scorpio kind of very frisky energy. However, it can also be connected to Venus and being fertile with ideas, pregnant with new beginnings, that sort of thing. Not necessarily actual physical interaction with anybody, but like giving birth to your dreams, basically. Atop the world, the power of joy. Just like I just said, rid yourself of the toxic situation. Everybody can then experience the power of joy. Atop the 10 of water, open your heart to love. Jesus wants you to feel this type of emotional fulfillment, right? All of your needs are met, emotional and material, and you have trustworthy relationships. You may have had a bad relationship here, but again, when you cleanse that out, you experience the power of joy if you open yourself up to it. Just because you had a bad experience prior doesn't mean you can't have a good one in the future. So don't close yourself off. Here in the masculine subconscious, atop the 6 of fire, the victory. Take charge of this situation, masculine. This should be you. You are the victor, right? To the victor goes the spoils. The spoils is the joy. This is you marching past, your fans here. You're a winner. Feminine, atop the 6 of air. Drink more water. And this is Queen Oshun being funny again, because this is a boat here and some water. She always does this. It's always a water card or something like that, is where she comes in with the drink more water. Feminine going through ascension and maybe throat chakra. Surrounding, atop the Knight of Air. That clear and shield your energy with El Moria is back. Atop the Ace of Air. The flow of prosperity is part of your new beginning, says Lakshmi. That was very much evident in the new moon reading. If you haven't seen it, especially if you're worried about your abundance, put it on. Put it on right after this one. Atop the Page of Fire, yoga and Babaji. So we'll get more meditation on opportunities that are being presented to us. Page of Fire is news of a new opportunity. It's something about which we're going to be passionate. Somewhere where we get to express our creativity. It's a job or an opportunity that we are going to enjoy, we're going to like. Here atop the 10 of air, I think I said this just a moment ago. Find the blessing in your current situation, says Krishna. So whereas something is ending, and it may have been something to which we've grown accustomed. Again, it could be a long job, a job you were at for a long time, a relationship you were in for a long time, a friendship you were in for a long time. So you might miss, the people there, the person with whom you were involved, all that kind of stuff. But see the blessing, the part that, again, you're going to be able to find your joy. You're going to be able to find your peace, open your heart to love once you let that situation go. It's over. And here at the heart of the matter, atop the 4 and 6 of earth, see the other person's point of view. This is about being open to, and I think this may have been at the heart of the matter in the moon reading too. Did I use these cards? No, it was at the heart of the matter in something else recently. I didn't use these during the moon reading. I wanted to purposely use different cards. That's right. In any case, see the other person's point of view is about being as compassionate. So like the Queen of Earth, maybe like Venus herself when she's taking on her Earth, her Taurus, being as compassionate and warm as possible as, when dealing with these circumstances and situations. So even when we're leaving someone, something, someplace behind, we're going to try to do it as gracefully as we can. Let me say that. I want to do some advice. I was in the mood to see numbers today, and I'm using my numerology deck beginning with 93 and happy ending, which I think is appropriate based on the spreads we've seen. Relationship change as well, which I think is also appropriate. Happy ending. Time out. Taking some time to yourself. This can be getting back to the message from the first spread for the feminine, taking some time for yourself with the divine masculine, taking a moment to meditate and pause and think about your next moves. taking some time to clear and shield your energy, or to get, help doing that if you need that. All those things. Time out. And spirituality. I've been seeing a lot of 7-7 lately too. Time out is back. I'll go one more. We almost had whatever this is. Spiritual partnership. 27. It's almost exactly like 29. But actually, I opened to this one. Patience and 2. Time out. I'm going to cut. And the overall energy is synchronicity. Great, because the masculine said he was paying attention to signs involving the feminine this week. And lastly, my Egyptian Sibylla deck, beginning with the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts is a lot like what it looks like. It's a woman in love. She's here staring at a page, a picture, it looks like, of her divine masculine. This woman is your, wife, mother, sister, someone about whom you care. And she's somebody who cares about you. And it's your divine feminine, I guess, in this case, as well. And it's about not just like the image and the picture of a situation, but getting to some real actual conversations and making your feelings known, either side or both, and being clear about it. Because if we don't say what needs to be said, it's otherwise just an ambiguous situation. And what ends up happening is people make presumptions. People make presumptions, and then they take action based on those presumptions if they don't know how you really feel and what you really want out of the situation. What are your plans? What are your goals? What are your intentions in my regard? And the intentions can't be based on what I say to you or what you want me to say or what I don't say. You can't become afraid to say I love you because I didn't say I love you first, or because I may not say I love you too back. This card is about keeping it 100 completely, so that you can find out the truth of the matter, of the situation, and go from there. And opening to the 8 of Spades. This is about betrayal, as it appears. Distrust. Queen of Hearts back. As is this, the Jack of Spades. It's about betrayal. And lack of trust. Can be a lack of confidence in oneself, either card too, because the trust doesn't have to be upon somebody else. It can be trust of yourself that you may lack. And the 8 of Diamonds, which is another very happy woman. And diamonds represent the suit of earth. So this would be like a woman who has, she's blessed and abundant because she's put, effort into being that. Queen of Hearts. I'm going to cut. Jack of Spades. Actually, before I shuffle that, that reminds me of a vision I had earlier with regard to the collective. The fair male in the hashtag creepy deck? It came to me earlier that the reason, because even though he's fair and even though his hair is kind of red, so he's sort of a redhead, for the most part, I always get like bad vibes off of that card. like he's the negative one. He's not dark complected, but he's the dark one, as an energy. And he's like a Judas. And, you know, he tends to be the karmic partner and stuff. This vision I had, for those of you who've seen Carlito's Way, the original one, with Al Pacino and John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo plays this character, Benny Blanco from the Bronx. And he was like this, pretending to be Al Pacino's character, Carlito, his friend, an admirer of his throughout the movie. And at the end, well, I won't tell you what happens at the end. For those of you who haven't seen it, you may want to go on Netflix or something and chill. that may come in handy with the first spread and spending time with the divine masculine and all that kind of stuff. But he betrays him. I'll put it that way. And I said all that to say, back to the purification. Some of us may have to let go of friends. Some of us may have to let go of people with whom we've had romantic relationships. That are not, you know, in both cases, these are like frenemies. They are toxic, and we need to detoxify this week. Speaking of that, this is like a death card. This 5 of Spades, it's kind of like a death card because this is a soul that has passed. This woman has died, and this is Anubis who works in the underworld for Osiris. He brings him. He and Ma'at, they check out the souls first and decide, you know, who to present to Osiris. And this is about transformation, on the end of a phase, and a situation that needs to be allowed to die, a circumstance that needs to be allowed to die, so that we can move on to new beginnings. And it may be difficult and even painful when you see this card, but it has to happen. First, from the Mary Queen of Angels deck to the Divine Masculine. It is the Divine Masculine of all time, Jesus. I pray for Jesus's help and guidance with this situation. And for the Feminine, Patience. I trust in divine timing. From the Angel Tarot to the Masculine, the High Priestess with Archangel Haniel. So there may be a Gemini or a water sign that's particularly impactful upon your life this week, or that could be you or anybody taking on either of those traits. The traits of a Gemini, which is basically any trait in the zodiac because we're mutable and dual, or a water sign. Listen to your intuition. Have patience and consider carefully what you want before acting. The Angel Tarot to the Feminine, the Four of Water. Don't miss an opportunity. Remember that other spread. We had an opportunity. Here's another opportunity. The Page of Fire. Don't miss it. Discontentment or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. From the Ascended Masters to the Masculine. Let it go, says Kuan Yin. And we've been seeing all that let it go the whole time we've been sitting here talking. And not just this spread. You know what you got to do. Feminine, choose peace. And that's what I meant here when I was saying if we have a situation to end, and it looks like we do too, we're clearing and shielding our energy. We may be cutting somebody away with the Ace of Swords. We're going to try to do it as warmly and compassionate as we possibly can. And, you know, choose peace wherever we're able, even with people from whom we're separating or situations from which we're separating. From the Numerology deck to the Masculine. New beginnings, which was my overall theme for my new moon reading. From the moment I turned the camera on, I was talking about new beginnings. Here they are for you guys. Awesome. Because you're ending something. That's clear. The masculine's definitely ending something. And for the Numerology deck to the Feminine, change. All right. Because we're changing our situation as well. And we're changing as individuals. It's another ascension period for the Divine Feminine. Perhaps specifically throat chakra, so we can speak up for ourselves. And like that Queen of Hearts, we can not just look at the Divine Masculine longingly and figure, well, he knows how I feel about him. Look how I'm looking at him. That's not enough. We got to open up and be honest, you know. So we're changing too. And maybe, again, our throat chakra specifically changing so that we can speak our truth loud and clear, without worry about persecution or rejection or anything like that. And from the Egyptian oracle cards to the Masculine, The Eight of Hearts. I will read this to you from the Egyptian oracle cards to the feminine. The Three of Spades. Now, the Three of Spades in the traditional tarot would be the Three of Swords, and it's not a card that anybody wants to see. This one's a little different. Here's Isis. Here's Anubis. Here's Thoth, as in Ibis. And this is a deceased woman, and her husband is like trying to revive her. So this is a card of rebirth here. I will read this one too. The Eight of Hearts. Hope. A woman in front of the Sphinx. Hopes and desires will only come true with self-confidence. You need to move. Was I talking about the divine masculine moving? You need to move and visit places with visit places with water and foreign shores. Paying particular attention to details and keenly observing those around you will avoid untoward surprises and disappointments. Advice. The Buddhist doctrine attributes to desires the root of every human suffering. Contrary to what a Zen monk would advise you, try to coexist with your wants, but do so without excessive attachment. And I paused, and I may have stumbled when I was reading that, because when it was talking about visiting someplace with water, I thought about the feminine. And I actually, speaking of that, I have good news about a cleanse. So one of the people with whom I worked this week got back to me and said that they had a visit from the divine masculine at their home for the first time ever. The cleanse is just, I couldn't be more excited about being able to help people this way. I really wish the whole world would do it. I think, it would just be a better place. Well, that's not what I thought about. When I read the card about visiting water, I thought about perhaps visiting the feminine. Because again, this Six of Air is about movement and about travel. And it contains water in the image. And atop it, I have this Drink More Water with Queen Oshun. And this card contains water as well. So let me go back over that. Right? Your hopes and desires will only come true with self-confidence. You need to move and to visit places with water and foreign shores. So that can be literal. Maybe you need to go on a full-on vacation, but you may need to visit the feminine. She's got this water here. Is paying particular attention to details and keenly observing those around you will help you to avoid untoward surprises and disappointments. So keep your eyes open too, because some people are not our real friends. Some people are frenemies. And this is general guidance, having nothing to do with the divine feminine. That part is general. All right, and let me read the Three of Spades for the feminine, about how to get through separation and be reborn. Three of Spades, a widower in front of his wife's casket. Isolation and forced separation. Incompatibility between a male figure and ourselves. So this can be somebody from whom we need to clear and shield our energy. Maybe they're an air sign. Maybe the person that we need to remove from our life is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius male. The risk is getting carried away by the world's pessimism and becoming like the worst part of it. Don't fall into the trap of solitude or believe that losses are permanent. Same way I told the masculine that we can continue to go on. We don't have to remain stuck because one relationship didn't work, or one situation didn't work, one job didn't work out, whatever. We get a new one. Like the bus, right? Miss one, next one coming. That's what this is saying. Losses are not permanent. How to deal with loneliness and abandonment. It's a question you will have asked yourself 100 times. This card invites you to imagine the abandonment of a loved one, on their part or yours, and to understand if this separation is really painful. If the answer is negative, you should rethink carefully the relationship you have with them. And this is talking about how separation can be good and healthy. We can come back from it, or be reborn. I hope that you guys enjoy the weekly general reading. I will be back with love, and then I will be back with live card pulls or mini readings on my Facebook page tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Namaste, angels.